Jelko, is it because my hair's not properly done? It's hard to get the strands properly. Hey, Pablo Enrique, take a note. Casey's failed. If you happen to be marking his, he's failed. You don't even need to look at it. 0 out of 100, no matter what. I don't know. You just think you're getting to know people, and then... Hey, Enrique, don't laugh. It wasn't funny.
Oh God, are we witnessing a fight unveiling?
All right. Usual stuff. We'll start with a couple of announcements. So, firstly, we are still getting some new people joining us. What I won't do is go through all the stuff that we've done before, but hope the new people have been watching the videos, so can raise a virtual hand using the interface or keep the chat open and put a question in there. So we'll test that. Can the new people please raise your hands? Your virtual hand, that is. Or your real hand. Turn on your camera and wave at me. That would be fine. Okay, so I'm seeing 2 at the moment. 3. So rather than taking... 4. All right. Rather than taking time with the whole lecture, because there's 60 odd people in this lecture, what I'm going to do is during the lab time later, I'll have a private meeting with you guys. So when we join the lab meeting, you guys can come out and I'll just take you through how the module is going to work and what's expected of you, okay? Feel free to unmute yourself and say hello, or that's okay, or I understand, or, well, anything.
Understand.
Yay!
Oh, we got 1.
1. 1 out of 4. All right, for those new guys, just so you know, when we have the small meeting, I will expect you to have your camera and your microphone on so we can actually talk. I'm not going to speak into a void. It's different when there's 60 odd people and it would be kind of hard to hear everyone. But when there's 4, I want to actually be able to see you, okay? So you guys can put your hands back down again. So you just press the same button to put your hands down. Come on, Peter, you can do it. Well done. Okay, speaking of how we do things, we're going to change the engagement a wee bit. As I said, there's 60 odd people in this lecture. It's kind of hard to know who's here, who isn't, and it's particularly hard to understand who's actually understanding things. Normally in a lecture, I can look around and see who's fallen asleep. Well, I can't really do that on here. In the lab, we can wander around and see who's struggling, and we certainly can't do that here. So what I'm going to do is, you've all come across the assignments. I've been telling you about them since the start. From now on, the assignments are mandatory, okay? So you have to turn in the assignment before the start of next week's lecture. So today's lab has to be turned in before the start of next week's lecture. That will be
That
used...
wasn't mandatory before?
Pardon?
That wasn't mandatory before?
I wanted you to do it, and you'll have noticed the emails that I sent out and the Teams messages saying, please do this because it's important for you. But what I'm going to do now is hunt down those people that don't do it. So they will...
Okay.
They will be having a one-to-one conversation about why they're not engaging. And in all seriousness, we do have an engagement policy that says you have to engage in a module. And as I say, normally it's dead easy. We take an attendance to see if you turn up at the lecture and turn up at the lab. And if you don't, you get some nasty letters and we complain. And we have some deep and meaningful conversations about your future in the university. Because I can't do that, because it's online, from now on, that's how I'm going to check. I mean, we'll have all the other tests, and if you don't do the tests and all that kind of thing, that's also an engagement. But as a week-to-week thing, I'm going to check engagement by checking who's submitted the assignment. Okay, fair enough. I don't care if it's PI files, screenshots, text files, semaphore, smoke signals, or anything else, Roland, as long as it's in there. Don't forget, I'm actually less interested in that part than I am that you're keeping up. So if you do have problems, give us a shout. That's why we're here for the labs. That's why we spend a couple of hours just being here waiting for you to ask. So feel free to ask, feel free to check. And in that spirit, are there any questions from last week?
Not really a question like about the code, more a question about the assignments. I've done the lab and I've done the grading thing and the presentation, but like I wasn't really sure whether we were, because you kind of hinted at the fact that we could try and make the ticket example that we went through in the lecture, whether we could make that a bit more broad or responsive. You hinted that we could do it, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I remember you saying that we have to do it.
No, I more than hinted. I suggested that you do extra stuff, and I suggested what that might be. And it's because I want you to start thinking about how you would do it, what it would do. And I had a long conversation during the week with, who was it? Was it Maureen? Yes, I think it was. I had a long conversation during the week with Maureen, who was trying to extend it and came across some issues. And of course, some of the issues she came across we're going to address in today's lecture. And that's part of the reason I asked you to try and think about how, for example, you might do it if there were combinations of adults, children, and old age pensioners and that kind of thing. So it wasn't a you have to do this, it was a look, this is where we're headed. You probably want to start thinking about this now. And I'm also hoping that you're actually starting to enjoy playing around with the code and that you will try and extend it.
I did that. I just wanted to, the main thing I wanted to ask was rather how far we can go with that. I went a bit overboard, I think.
No, that's impossible. Go as far as you possibly can.
All right, thank you.
Roland, yes, you do submit the lab exercises in the assignment tab. Maureen, it was you. Yep.
Somebody has your mic on and you're echoing.
Yeah, is it you, Mohammed?
It's not me, I don't think so.
Somebody's echoing anyway. Oh no, you're gone again. Whoever it was.
Tony.
Eric. Yes. Programming's like one of those things that people do for themselves. You know, they'll pick up a puzzle book or a puzzle in the newspaper or something, and they'll enjoy the puzzle. Programming's like that. So it's annoying when you're going through it, but when you actually finish it, you feel a really great sense of achievement. And the other good thing, of course, is you know that there's always an answer, you just have to find it. So I want them all in. This week, I only had 30-second delay, Roland, my goodness. This week I had fewer than 50 people turned it in, so it's good. Thank you for those people. And also don't forget, in terms of feedback, I'm making the assumption that you're okay with these labs, particularly because you're turning them in. That's partly why I'm using them to check engagement, because the people that aren't turning them in, I'm assuming are the people who are struggling and I really need to get in contact with them. On the other hand, if there are questions that you have about the labs or about anything else, please, please, please ask, either in the lab or elsewhere. And don't forget, if you're in the lab, you don't have to ask questions out loud. You can just get our attention and we can go and have a private chat elsewhere. So if you don't want to speak in front of other people, that's fine too. And there's plenty of us there so we can all go and have a chat. Elsewhere, how basically it's a meeting like this, but you can set up and go have a personal chat with one other person. Okay.
Here's what I found.
Be quiet, Google. I don't know how I managed to trigger that. Outside the lecture or lab time, drop an email or put something into the Teams chat. In fact, I'd prefer the Teams chat. Don't you dare, Casey. I will absolutely come after you.
All right, hello. Hey, Google.
Yeah, so
Jack,
Samana, put something into Teams, into the Google chat, and you can get her attention and we'll follow
Sorry,
up.
I didn't understand.
It's working.
I hate you guys.
Maybe
All
time
right,
to
I
turn
did.
that feature off.
What's that?
Maybe time to turn that feature off.
Yes. Turn the microphone off at least. All right, I did promise you a special lecture today. And as you'll be well aware, during the lectures and the labs, I am, of course, rather far down the line in terms of people who actually know about this, which is why Pablo and Enrique keep correcting me. So what we're going to do today is, rather than just being in the lab, today's lecture is going to be by Enrique. So your shouts of H, E, Y, G, O-O-G-L-E won't help, because I'm not going to be on here and Enrique is. So Enrique, if you're ready, I'm just going to give up controlling.
Yes, I am ready. Could you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Enrique, are you able to control the screen, or have I stopped people doing that?
No, only meeting organizers.
Right, you should be able to present now.
Yeah, right now, yes. Thank you, Tony. Did you see my screen?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Chat here. Can I press?
Enrique, we can't see you, so I don't know if you want to turn on your camera.
I prefer no, but it's up to you, right? Okay, guys. This week, I will present you the iteration part 1 of the Python classes. I was thinking this week to design a new class or or different things to try to be more reactive in the class. This is why I was thinking and design to put some questions along the 1 hour teaching class. That means that I will be trying to explain what means iterations in Python, and at the same time I will put some links, because I realized this morning that I am not able to put the forms in that conversation, only in private conversations and post in the groups. And I will share with you a link with like quiz, and you need to answer it. And later on, we will discuss it, the answer. It's fine for you. I think it's a good point to be more interactive in the class, and also to learn like a game. This is what I think, and this is what I try to do for this class. Okay. And to try that, first of all, I will try to copy. Are you able to see the form?
Yes, I can see it.
Yep.
Yes, yes.
Okay, the questions, well, probably are different like that questions, but that means that at the same time that I am explaining, I will try to put some questions, and we will discuss it. I will ask people that answer different things, and we will try to create like not a fight, but better discussion to understand what is happening behind the scenes in Python. Well, I see that some people need 5 minutes more to sleep. 12 people are ready to the class, and 2 people are not ready to the class. Okay, in that case, I will start the teaching for today. Hopefully you will enjoy this class. Well, today we will present the iterations. First of all, I would like to remember that what is a sequence in programming. Sequence is when we have a task and we need to deliver different things step by step. That means that before we take the step 2, we need to finish step 1. And before we finish step 2, we need to pass to task 3. Okay, it's clear for you? That means that this is one thing, that the first thing is for secure transactions, for example, are like really nice because you need to fulfill one process, for example, and in the correct thing. If I tell something that you don't understand, please correct me and I will try to explain it. But sequence means that when we do, for example, a recipe in the kitchen, that means that when you stop to do the first step, you are able to pass to the second step. Okay, but today we will be interacting with the iterations. That means that we have some task that we need to repeat. Okay, and that's it because our program demands. For example, imagine that we need to ask 300 times for the user to ask the notes of the students. But that means that the process needs to be repeated until we finish. Okay, iteration is defined like something called looping, and it involves performing of some instructions more than once. That means that in that case, we need to repeat some actions. Is clear for you?
Okay. And can we like repeat some actions a certain number of times, or?
Yes. This is the next slide. There are
Okay.
two different types of loops in Python, well, in programming. That means the for loops and the while loops. The main difference between for loops and while loops is that for loops are when we know how many times we iterated, and while loops is when we don't know how many times we need to iterate it. Okay, next thing. 1 second, please. I'm lost here. Okay, and now we will start for the function range. But before do that, I have something for you. Come on, guys.
I'm a slow reader, okay?
Okay.
Don't worry about me. I can read fast.
I don't know. Well, I am seeing here I don't know if I can share also that screen. Okay, 1 second, please. I will try to share content. No. Did you see the screen right now?
Yeah. Affirmative.
Yes.
Okay, 35 people answer the first question. That is the good one. Who is the one that answered the second one, please?
That was me.
Why?
I was kind of stressed.
Okay.
Check.
And I would like to know also who respond the third one. We'll use, come on, right now someone changed for the yellow one. Okay, the correct is the one. As I told you, the for loops is when we know exactly how many times we need to iterate it, and while we need to iterate, but we don't know exactly how much time we need to iterate it. Okay, thank you, guys.
Oh, I got them mixed up. Okay, thanks.
Well, at least no one answered the last one. Perfect. Okay. In Python, we have the function range that is able to provide to us a range. Okay, that means different numbers, okay, in certain orders that sometimes we would like to do, for example, if we have a box with 30 elements, okay, we would like to iterate 30 times. That means that we will use a for instead of a while, okay? And we will use the range functions, okay, to deliver to us that items in the box, okay? For that reason, we use the function range. I will explain with more details later. And that function allows us to access and use the sequence of numbers without having to type all of them in. That means that if we would like sequence numbers, okay, between 1 to 100, okay, we put range, we will use range function, and the range functions we will return to us that sequence of numbers. Okay. The first thing that we can use it is the question is the range with first parameter 10. That means that the range function starts in 0, okay, and stops one integer before 10 and is incrementing by 1. That means that that function, okay, return to us 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, it's clear for you guys?
Yeah, I think, I hope.
Okay. One question for you. You can join the meeting. Okay. Perfect. Some
I see you guys changing your answers.
Of the blue one, please. Probably. Okay. Last time. Okay. Next time. Come on. Next time I will don't share the answers. Okay. I would like some volunteer for the first one, please. Blue one.
I mean, I chose option 3, but I could like proxy volunteer if that makes sense.
No. I would like some volunteer. Okay. In that case, first of I would like some volunteer that answer the blue one, and if no, I will pass you the token. One volunteer for the first one.
Yeah.
Okay. Why did you choose? Why you choose that?
The first one.
Yeah.
Because it was -5, so the range of -5 I thought would be 0, -1, 2, then 3, then 4, then 5.
Okay. First thing that here is if we put range 10, it's moving between 0 and stop in 9, not in 10.
So it would be -4.
One integer before 10. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, one volunteer for the orange one, please. For the second one.
Okay.
There are only 2 people. Volunteers. Okay, that also is wrong because we need to start at 0. the function is range 10 starts at 0. Okay, always we start at 0. Okay, one volunteer for the green one, for the third one.
That's the one I chose.
Okay, why?
Because, well, we established that it starts counting from 0 and it's a range of -5. So counting 5 upwards from 0 would be up to -4, right?
Yes, supposedly yes.
So that's what I chose.
Okay, thanks. And I would like to know why the fourth one. Now the people is changing to the last one. Why people choose the fourth one? -1, -2, -1, -2, -3, -4. One volunteer. No volunteers. Okay. Why, guys, do you think that is the 5 who choose the last one? Why do you think that is the last one, please? Some volunteer?
I want to volunteer.
Okay, go ahead.
I think because it's -5, so I was thinking maybe it needs to start from -0 or something like that. So that's why -0, -1, -2, -3, -4. And I could not see that there, so that's why I was saying none of them.
Okay. Another volunteer?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I think it's the last one because the loop it's not gonna run because it's from 0 to -5 with a step. I mean, it's 1 the second times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's not gonna run.
Okay. Okay. Paraskevas, sorry for the bad pronunciation, could answer that. We need to understand here that the definition is that increments by 1. When we are running between 0 to -5, -5, we are not incrementing, we are decrementing. Okay? It's clear for all of you?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Okay,
so a range can't decrease in that case. So it can't go from any value down to a lower value. Am I understanding that correctly?
In the first approach, no. In the I will explain you now. We have for the second one.
Thank you.
Okay. Here, for example, we would like a range between two numbers. That means that range 2, 12 is start at 2 and stop 1 the integer before 12. That means that if we put 2, 12, we will move between 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, are you ready for the question?
Sure, hit me.
Okay. This is that one. Okay, the questions. I promise you that is starting to be complicated because I remember you that in last teaching class, okay, Tony explained orders, and we will use it also here. Not in that case, but I will introduce you that in next questions, I will ask you for some simple mathematics operations. Okay, second one.
We could kind of cheat though because the presentation's still up.
Well, no worries.
Wait, there's a test thing, exercise thing? I'm not doing anything.
Sorry, I don't know who is talking.
Are we meant to be doing something?
No?
Yeah, I see the links, but he's putting in the chat. We're just meant to be clicking on them and answering the question when he asks it on the slide.
Are you able to see the questions?
No, I didn't even know there were questions, man. Where's the chat?
There should be a clickable icon on the top.
Yes. That puts
to
show
the left of the
conversation,
handout.
high conversation.
Show conversation. All right, perfect. Thank you.
You see that? Okay, welcome. Okay, 33rd, 34. Okay, I will go for one volunteer for the last one. None of the above, please. One volunteer.
I was actually thinking about picking that one, but I didn't. I could explain my logic behind thinking of picking that one, if that makes sense. Or
okay.
Well, what I thought was maybe okay. We have there's a suspicious amount of a suspicious lack of negative ranges in your presentation, so I thought maybe ranges can't go negative. But I ended up not picking that option, but that's what I thought. I was really close to picking it.
I am range allow negative numbers.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Welcome. Some volunteer for the last one. Okay, for the fourth one, -6, -7, -8. I see that 5 people answered that one. I am able to see the names, guys, or volunteers, or I say names.
Oh no, he's about to single people out.
Okay, no one. Okay, the fourth one is wrong also, -6, -7, -5, because we put -5 to -9. That means that we are moving between -5, -6, -7, -8, and we stop it one before the number that we put. That means that the correct one is the first one. Okay, it's clear for all of you?
Wait, the correct one is which one?
The first one.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay. Some questions here? Guys,
So
I don't know why you are changing to the last one. You are trolling me or?
Wait, so a range does not include the final value in the bracket then?
No.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. The third option in range is that we are able to, if we would like a range between two numbers, but we need to jump between 3, I mean, in steps of 3, okay? If we put to 12, that means that the range starts at 2, okay? Now we add 3, 2 plus 3 are 5. Now 5 plus 3 are 8, and 8 plus 3 are 11. And we stop it 1 before the last one. Do you understand?
Yeah, so it's adding by 3 every time.
Oh, wait, so the first two values give parameters, and the third value is basically in the increments you move by.
Yes. The first one is the start of the range. The second one is the end of the range. And the third one is the steps that we would like to increase the counter of the range.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep.
That one.
Hello.
Hi. Who is talking? Okay, guys, this is the question for you. As I told you, we need to do some basic operations.
I can't select the page. The number.
Is multiply by. I mean that the third parameter is -3 plus 2 multiply by -1.
I know the answer, but I can't select the option.
You are not able to select it. All of you are there. I don't know why.
I can select it.
Yeah, it's working
Probably
for me.
Probably just me. I'm trying to fix it.
And just refreshing the tab worked for me. It worked. I wasn't able to select either.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome. Okay, 22. 26.
I have a question regarding the like once you submitted an answer, if I click submit another answer just to see like which answer I chose, will that take away an answer from your graph?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I think I put it. The options right now in the questions is that the people can change their decision, but they are not able to vote 2 times the same question. I mean that the first thing, if you vote the last one, for example, and later on you need to change for the fourth one, that means that your vote is passing through the last one to the fourth one. I mean, you are not voting 2 times. 36 guys, more. Last question, I received 56 responses. I missed 20 people. Okay. I missed 15 people. Okay. 12 people. 12 people. Okay. 8 people. Come on, guys, you can do that. 30 seconds.
Okay. 1 second. Can you see my answer? Because I chose an answer, but then I said submit another answer just to see the questions. I was wondering maybe if that takes away the answer I already gave.
1 second, please. Okay. I missed 2 more. Come on, guys, you can do that. 1 more.
Yo, Nick, look in chat.
Okay. I would like to have some volunteer for the last one. None of the above, please.
Yeah, I put that because my brain just wasn't working.
It wasn't working. Okay.
No.
But you
Hello.
can you ask why did you choose that, or is only because your brain is not working?
No, pretty much. I was trying to do the question in my head, like just do it all, like, but I just Yeah.
Okay, if you have the chance to change your answer, you will change it.
Oh yeah.
To which one?
Let me see. Either the first one. No.
The first one or the third one? Okay. Could you tell me why did you choose the third one?
The first one.
The third one.
The third one.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, I don't know.
I think a lot of people are finding that quite a big jump going from the ranged from that to the question that you gave us. More than anything, there's quite a few people that have been thrown off by that.
I put down none of the above because all of the upper limits end on -18 when you should be doing one increment below. Is that right?
Yeah, there we go. That guy just read what was going through my brain.
Yeah,
So it should end on -17
Pablo.
instead of 18.
Yeah, I'll put the second one.
But that is when it's only one increment, when you're incrementing by 1. But what if you're incrementing by 3, then there would be 3 spaces down 18. So it would be 15.
It's incrementing by -5.
Yeah, that's why
I thought it was incrementing by -5.
It's
so it's
incremented
actually
by
going down.
-5. Yeah, this is right. The increment part is -5. Okay.
So if it's -5,
So it's the second
Or
one.
-1,
yeah, so it should be the
minus
second one,
three.
right?
Yeah, that's what I picked.
Okay. If the increment is -5, that means that we can remove the third one, the fourth one, and the fifth one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the third one as well, right? Because we start at -3. So we have to, like, the first value has to be -3, which is why I chose the second one.
And the final value can't be the same,
Yeah,
so it
this is
can't be
this is
-18.
correct. The first number that will reappear is the first one or the second one. Okay, -3 will be the first number. Okay, and now what is the next step?
It's taken away 5, so -8, -13. And then it stops there because I can't get to -18.
Okay, that means that the correct one is the second one because we are not allowed to pass the maximum parameter that we put. Okay.
So if it goes over the upper range, it just stays on the last one it can do?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was a misunderstanding before because when we had ranges of just 2 parameters without having an increment step, it was 1 below the range max. But if your increment step is bigger than that, the computer or like the program will see one of those increment steps as 1 step.
Yeah. So it normally just increments 1.
Okay. Next one.
Can I just?
Sorry. Yes.
Can I be here? Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, you're really
Yeah,
quiet.
It's a bit quiet though.
Really quiet, but yes.
I know. I think it's this mic. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, well, the same, but
Just
go
as
ahead.
bad, but
It's just see to get to -5.
Yes.
How did you guys get there?
Okay. -5 is
-1
because-
times 2.
I know.
So you basically have -1 times 2. That's the first operation you do, and then which gives you -2, and -3 plus -2 is -5.
Yeah, so it's operator precedence. So like the times takes precedence first, then it's the plus.
Did you understand it?
Just doing bod mass, isn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, guys. Next one. We are able in a range, okay, to increase the value, or we are able to decrease the value. That means that if we put the first one like -12, sorry, 12, The maximum one is 2, and later on we will do a step of -2. That means that we will go to 12, 10, 8, 6, and 4. Are you ready for the next one? And is the last one. Well, the last one is here, sorry. And the last one is that we are able to range between positive and negatives, okay? In case that we have a range between 7 to -6 with a steps of -3, that means that we will do 7, -3, 4, -3, 1, -3, -2, and -3, -5. Okay, and we are not able to pass -6 because it's the limit of our range. Guys, this is the last question. You have 2 minutes to answer, and it's the most complex one of today's lecture.
Oh, challenge accepted.
Okay, are you ready, guys?
Yeah, go for
More
it.
than ready.
Yeah.
Hit me.
Okay.
You
Let
weren't
me
kidding.
bust out my calculator for this one.
Yeah. Yes, you can do that with calculator. Remember the order of the parentheses also. As you know, last week we did the operations order, and the parentheses, as Tony told you, is quite important.
All right, Tony, we get it. You have a massive brain.
I think I've got it.
I actually need to write this down, though.
No one respond nothing.
Seems like I have a massive brain too. I just finished.
Okay. I didn't see any. Now 24. Okay. Sometimes it's going late. Okay.
Yeah, I'm done too.
I think I'm done.
Stefan, if you could just click submit another response if you think you were wrong in your first answer and you want to change it.
Yes.
By the way, is it just me or is the chat window in the actual call not updating? So I have to actually use the actual Teams window outside of the chat.
Yeah, that's just you.
Yep, definitely just you.
Come on, guys.
Okay.
20 people.
I get it, guys. Wow.
Yeah, next.
Come on, miss 20 people. 19. Why, Nicholas, your question?
Oh no,
What
it
did
was
you do?
just because it's because it's just me. Like only my chat isn't updating, so I have to use the actual Teams window rather than the call. And I'm getting bullied for it.
Which question did you choose, Andrew? And what is the one that you choose right now? Why?
I chose answer 2. Because, well, it's just 3 calculations, right? So the first one, 3 times -1 plus 4, so that would be 3 times 3, which is 9, which is our first increment, so it has to start with 9, so answer 4 can be eliminated. And then the second value is -2 times -7, which is 14, and then -1 is 13. So that's our final value, which we are not allowed to pass. And then the third, which is the increment, is 6 minus 3 times 2, which is 6. So that's just 0 plus 1, which means it's 1. So it goes up in increments of 1. So we know that -8, -9 won't really work. I mean, we already eliminated that anyway. -9 won't work because that's the first value. The first value has to be positive, and the first value actually doesn't work either because it has to be positive. So we know it has to be either 2 or the last option, which is none of the above. But because we know that it goes up in increments of 1 and cannot pass 13, 9, 10, 11, 12 according to my calculations is the right answer.
Okay. Someone think that Nicholas is wrong?
Nicholas.
No, 100% right.
Okay. I have 4 people that answer the first one, 5 people that answer the third one, 1 people that answer the fourth one, and 7 people that answer none of the above. I will go for some volunteer for the last one, none of the above. No volunteers? Okay. The correct question is the second one, as Nicholas explained really well the operations and what it's doing. The operation is range between 9 to 13 and in steps of 1. Okay, guys, this is the function range. Okay, as you see, the function range is very useful when we want to create sometimes complicated sequence of numbers, and the values in the range are all in the same data type. Okay, that means that can be only integers, okay, and now we will go for a loop. Okay, as I told you before, for example, this range is iterating between 1 to 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and the variable of the item is moving to counter. Okay, and there are the times that we print woof. Okay, that means that we are able to print woof 4 times. Okay, because the range is between 1 to 4. Okay, 1 second. Yeah, but one.
Is he hacking the mainframe?
No, I was reading the Roland. Okay. In the previous example, okay, we need to iterate and repeat, okay, 4 times, and we use a dummy variable counter in the range function to make that happen. Okay, because if you see that example, we are not using the variable counter in our for loop. We are only iterating 4 times. Okay. And now in that example, okay, we will see the multiply table, okay? That means that we are iterating. How many times we are iterating here, and which numbers? In range 10.
0 to 9.
Okay, another one thing different.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
Same thing.
No. I was asking if someone is thinking different like you, to see if all people understand that range 10 is returning us value between 0 to 9. Okay, that means that we are iterating this 9 times between 0 to 9. Well, 10 times between 0 to 9. And we multiply the counter, okay, that will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, okay, plus multiply by 8, okay. That means that the first iteration we will multiply 8 multiplied by 0, later on by 1, by 2, by 3, by 4, 6, until we have, well, sorry, until we have the last operation.
Okay, so the steps that the range takes are called the counters.
Well, yeah, this is a variable that we can put whatever we want, but yes, that means that if we have,
oh yeah, I didn't read it, sorry.
10 elements, okay, that means that the first element will move to counter, and later on we do the operation that we have in the loop, okay. I mean, the range between 0 to 9, that means the first time we will multiply 8 per 0. Next iteration, we will multiply 8 per 1. And that's it. It's clear for all of you?
Clear to me.
Okay. When we use for loops, okay, the first thing that, for example, print 8 times table, that means that here we are explaining that, okay. 8 times tables, that means that this print will be printed this message, and later on we will do the same, okay. The variable, the for loop, okay, will be printing between 0, will be taking values between 0 to 9, okay, and later on we will multiply that per the number 8. And this is the explanation, okay, the range between 0 to 9, okay. In that case, yes, it's quite important also the indentation in the for, okay. As you know, like in if else, okay, we need to put the column and later on put a tab or 4 spaces, okay, to do the operations that we would like to operate inside the if else or the for in that case. I don't think so, Roland, because it's a mandatory parameter. If we put, then I never tried, but I am completely sure, because otherwise it's gonna be you know, if you don't know the, well, Roland is asking about if range 10 is the maximum, the minimum number is 10, the maximum number we don't know it, and the -1, that means that will be infinite numbers in that range. We need to think also that when range, the function range is operating, is returning a sequence, okay. That means that in that case we don't have enough space in the memory and neither in the computer because we don't know when and how to stop it.
In short, just a good way to break a computer.
Yes, I am completely sure that is not gonna work.
Okay.
Yes, and the counter. This is the explanation that I told you before. Okay. Now I will introduce some operation with lists. Okay. We can create our own sort of colored list. Okay. That means that we are able to store in a structure called list and is able to store different data types. Okay, that means that we are include, for example, strings or integers, doubles, or also another list that the name is nested list. I will explain it with details right now. For example, that the first line, okay, we are storing the Pythons. We are storing Chapman, Cleese, Gilliam, Irle, Jones, and Palin. Okay, and we are storing in this list. Okay, these 6 guys. Okay, and the name of the list is the Pythons. Okay, later on we can create an empty list. Okay, with that we don't put nothing. Later on we can do, for example, with some numbers. For example, we can put 7, 42, minus 21. 9. That means that here, for example, we have integers and we have floats. And here we have a mixed list. For example, this will be a string. This is an integer, and here we have a list. Okay, that means that we are able to.
So a list inside a list.
Yes, a nested. We can do nested lists in our programs. Yes, here is the explanation. They have some different. The Pythons contain 6 elements, all strings. The empty has no elements. Some numbers has 3 elements, 2 integers, and 1 float. And the mixed elements has 3 elements, and a string, an integer, and a string. Okay, here is to print a specific element in the list. Okay, for example, line 6 is print the Python 2. That means that we will print. We always start counting at 0. Okay, that means that 0 will be Chapman, Cleese will be the number 1, and Gilliam will be the number 2. Thank you, Roland. Later on, we have the some numbers is taking the 0. That means that we will take the 7 because it's the number 0 in our list. And for example, this 2-1 is to operate with nested list. That means that when we have a list within the list, okay, we will, because the second element will be a list, and later on we will take the number 1 that is A, B, C. It's clear for you the 4th line?
No, could you explain that again, please?
Yes. In a mixed list, for example, with the number 2, okay, we will count zeros. 0 will be Circus, 1 will be 31, and 2 will be that list. This is clear for you, Tamur?
All right, okay, I get it now. Yeah, perfect.
We will take that list, and with the number 1, later on we will do the same. 0 will be 19, and 1 will be ABC.
Mm-hmm.
This is clear for you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if just to before you move on, just to understand. So which means if
I don't understand this.
If it has to print mixed list, it would be 19 and
yes.
131.
No, so it starts at 0. So Circus would be 0, then 31 would be 1.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Then 2 is it says
the list. The second list is 2.
That's 19.
No, so it's selecting the list.
Start 0.
So 2 selects the list.
Yes. If we only put mix at least 2,
so 2
will go ahead.
Where is 2 then? in the list, in the mixed list?
Well, you are choosing the second element, no? 0 will be circus, 1 will be 31, and
Yes.
2 will be that list, isn't it?
Yes, 19 and ABC.
No, that list, yes, 19 and ABC as a list. And later on, we will take the number 1 and we count again. 0 will be 19 and 1 will be ABC.
It's because it's a list and a list.
Yes, it's a nested list. Do you understand, Ansumana?
So the number 2 is telling you need to pick from list 2.
Basically.
Didn't get that question.
If you say you have print mixed list, then you have 2 and then 1. So the 2 is telling you pick the number 1 from list 2.
It depends.
You pick the element number 1.
Element number 1 from
the element number 2.
So whatever is in 2 would be picked there. So it's the list and that is the second list. It would be picked now.
I think I'll put it now.
So if instead of a list it was the value 15, 15 would be picked.
It's clear?
See, if you just put element 2 and removed element 1, would it just print the whole list out?
Yes.
Okay.
Questions? Okay, I will continue. For example, here, okay, in band, we have John, Paul, George, and Ringo. Okay, band is a list of 4 elements. Okay, and here we have the variable member. Okay, and we will iterate the band. That means that we will take all the elements in order. Okay, and print it. Okay, the Beatles are, we iterate the first element. Okay, the first element John is going to variable member and we print John. The second element, well, the element 0, sorry, is John. The element 1 is Paul. Okay, the second iteration will print Paul. The third iteration will print George, and the fourth iteration will print Ringo. Okay.
Could I just because it says member, right?
Yes.
Is there like a is there like a list off of here or like that defines the members, or is that just like a thing like a preset?
When you have a list with elements and you iterate it, that means that the name, in that case member, will be stored time to time in order all the elements that you have in your list.
All right, got it.
So it's just a dummy variable.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
So the member is just a dummy variable. You can have anything there.
Yes. You can put whatever you want. Yes.
Yeah, that's just it. Just yeah. Okay, got it. Thank you very much.
Okay, for next week, we will do for loops. I'm very handy if we know how many iterations are required. However, we don't always know that. Okay. Next week, we will look at how Python deals with situations where the number of iterations is not known. Okay, here there are 2 exercises. Okay, use a loop to amend mark to grades program to allow you to enter 5 student mark. Amend the above mark to grade program to allow you to enter numbers to a student and their marks. And the second exercise is amend your 2 previous versions of marks to grade program to calculate the average mark and grade for the group of students. This is the 2 exercises that we have for this week and later on the lab. But with if Tony allow me, I did one exercise for you that I will put it here in the chat, okay? And you will have the whole week to answer it.
All right. So basically, the lab and these exercises are both things that we have to do, right?
Yes.
They're just in separate parts. Got it.
The challenge that I put right now is a challenge. If you would like to do that, and if not, don't do that. It's not mandatory. It's only a challenge, and I think it's quite useful because we will use the range. We will use also the if-else statements. We will use operators and I think is a complete exercise to you to understand what we are doing.
Well, challenge accepted.
Okay, Tony, from my side, I finish.
Okay, thanks, Enrique.
You're welcome.
All right. I think you have to relinquish control before I can share anything. I can probably dump you off, but you know, I like to be polite.
I don't know how to do that.
That dumping it is.
It's not you, it's definitely me.
That was funnier to me than perhaps it should be.
Okay, so as well as Enrique's questions, there's today's lab. Is that working?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So today's lab, not surprisingly, is on iteration. Nice easy one to begin with. Quick for loop to do a countdown for a rocket. And then a slightly more involved one. And you'll see in there that there are some extra bits of code that you haven't come across before. So there's a new keyword called import. So there are lots of extra modules that are available. So things like maths and graphics and everything. One of them is a module that lets you do random numbers. So to get those modules and get that extra functionality into your Python program, you have to use this import keyword. And in this particular case, what you're importing is random. And that will give you some new functionality. So that the next line where we say random number becomes random.randrange10. That will set a random number into the new variable randnum. Okay, so far?
Yep.
Bit of an info dump, but okay.
Pardon? Oh,
it's a bit of an info dump, but all right.
Could you go over that again? I didn't quite get that.
You mean you weren't listening, Casey?
My mum came into the room. There's not much I can do about that.
Yeah.
My dog ate my ears.
What I was saying is there are extra modules that are available. So people have pre-written things for stuff like graphics and maths and all that kind of thing. One of them is random numbers. You can use the import keyword to get those into your Python program. In this particular case, what we're importing is the functionality for random. We can then use that. So there's a whole set of functions. So if we're going to set up a new...
Like, where does Python grab that import from? Like, is that just like included but not really included, or how does that really how does that work?
Yeah, so there are kind of two sets of them. So there are well-known ones, if you like, so common ones where, as you say, they're included but not included. So Python will just go, oh yeah, that one, I'm well aware of that one, I'll go grab it just now. You'll also use the same kind of functionality when you start to create your own functions. So later on, at the moment you've got a Python program in one file. Clearly, when we start getting into more complicated things, it won't just be one big long set of commands. You want to split them up. You want to be able to do one particular set of functions here and another there, and then bring them all together at the end. So you're also able to import your own functionality. And at that point, you might have to start pointing to it a bit more clearly.
So something like a href in HTML.
Yeah. But because it's local, what it will do is it will look where you have your current program stored. And if it's not there, then you have to point to it on your disk. So when you start up PyCharm and you see all these different files being created, it's all part of that. So we haven't quite got there yet. And I don't particularly want to do all that because I think it gets in the way of actually understanding creating a program and making it do something. But we will start talking about that as we start to create bigger programs and start to create more complicated ones. Is that fair enough?
All right, that's fair.
Okay, so for the moment, just take my word for it that we can import new things. So we use the import keyword. We're going to, in this case, import the random functions. And I say functions advisedly because it gives you more than one thing. And if you're wondering what they are, Google is wonderful. We're going to set up a new variable called randnum, and it's going to become random. So it's the thing that we've imported. We're going to use that, and we're going to use this dot notation. So it's a method from the random functionality that we've just imported. In this particular case, we're using randrange, which gives us a number in the range of 10. But just like we've done just there in iterations, that doesn't mean 1 to 10, it means a range of 10. We don't discriminate against 0 in this class. So 0 is a number. So randrange 10 is 10 numbers between 0 and 9. Okay? Yeah?
All right.
That was talk to myself for a minute. Okay, so with that extra information, what we're going to ask you to do is create a guessing game. Get your program to guess a number between 1 and 100. Ask the user to guess the number. When they enter their guess, tell them whether it was too low, too high, or just right. And in the end, tell them how long it took them to guess the number. It's definitely the sort of thing that you want to write down beforehand. So don't just run straight to PyCharm. Don't just start coding. If you were teaching a 5-year-old how to play this game, if you wanted to give them a set of instructions for it to happen, how would you do that? So start to think about it in terms of what's required for this particular problem, and only once you've got it clear in your head about how to do it, do I want you to go and actually code it. So this time round, as well as your code, I want you to think about the process, how it works, how you need to do it.
Isn't that what notes are for?
How do you mean notes?
You know, the hashtag in Python, so you can just write down your plan and then start writing them down as you go, or like it's all in one sort of program.
What you'll find as your programming projects become more complicated is that won't be enough. You'll have to start planning out what you're going to do and trying to understand what the problem is, how you're going to approach it, and how you'll solve it. So for the ones we've been doing up till now, it's okay just to think, oh yeah, I'll do this and this. And if something goes wrong, you can have a look at it and start fixing it. This time round, what we've actually got is a program that I'm guessing right now you don't actually know how to solve. Because there's a lot of things in there. There's getting the numbers, there's comparing the numbers, there's responding back to the user, depending on what they have chosen. There's going round it again and again until they finally guess the right answer, and you tell them what it is and how many times it took. There's a lot of things in there. If you just start typing in code, I guarantee you it will take 5 times as long than if you turn off your screen, sit down with a bit of paper and start sketching out how that works so that you know the processes. So actually, literally sketch it out. Choose a random number. Get a guess. Compare it to the random number. If it's less than, do this. If it's greater than, do this. If it's the same as, do this. And the do this probably isn't one thing, because you're going to have to respond to the user. You're going to have to record how many attempts they've had. You're going to have to let them know. So there's a whole pile of things to do. There's too many things to keep in your head, which is why we write them down and why we make sure that they work. Because once you've written it down, what you can do is actually try it. So as well as writing down how you will solve the problem, you can become the computer. So you go through it and it says choose a random number. So in your head, okay, choose a random number, 33. Next thing, ask the user for a guess. Okay, my guess is 27. And you start working your way through how you're going to approach the problem to see whether it works or not. So you've actually solved it on paper before you solve it in code.
And that makes sense.
I absolutely promise you, it will speed things up. You'll go so much faster if you've solved it before you write a line of code. So if you know what pseudocode is, because we haven't actually spoken about it, but that's really what I'm talking about here. Pseudocode, flowcharts, if you've come across any of these things, even just structured English, just something you can give to somebody and they could follow, and that's your bar. If you could give this to someone who didn't know anything about coding, would your solution allow them to run that game with someone? Could they stand and go, okay, the next step is? So if it's complete enough for that, it will be complete enough for you to go and create your code. So if you've created pseudocode, if you've created flowcharts, if you've created structured English, yep, add them into your assignment. If you haven't, that's fine just now, but later on, we will actually be requiring that. So go back and check what we said right at the start in terms of your submission. And you may remember that we talked about actually having your planning and your documentation in there. So Maureen's quite right. We will be doing pseudocode, and Rami, we're going to mention it an awful lot more. Okay, any other questions? You've all gone remarkably quiet.
There's a lot to process.
There is. Okay, well, what I'm going to do then is give you time to process it. Before I do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the recording in case anybody wanted a question but didn't want to be recorded. So I'll stop the recording now.